good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Monday Night Raw continues to be boring and bland. Raw was at best okay, but still it's rinse and repeat, week in, week out. Finally, we have a name for Seth Rollins' nameless faction that's been wreaking havoc on Monday Night Raw for about the last 2.5 months. So finally, we have a name for them. But, this show overall was just boring. The ending was okay, but the show as a whole was absolutely boring outside of the ending. So we're going to get into Monday Night Raw from August the 4th, 2025. So we kick the show off with Seth Rollins' faction. So Paul Heyman comes out, puts all of the members over. He then renames Big Bronson Reed to the Tribal Thief, and then he calls him the owner of the Shula Fala, which is kind of funny. I do like that. He called Braun Breaker the big dog, and this is his yard. So, he continues to make fun of CM Punk and Roman Reigns and how Seth Rollins stole the title from Punk because Punk never saw it coming. So, Seth Rollins then gets on the mic. He says, "Shame on every one of you who turned their back on him after he won the main event at WrestleMania." He said, "Shame on every single one of you who, for months, taunted him with the chance of CM Punk." He says, "Here's a lesson. Never, ever doubt Seth Rollins again." So then, Rollins says, "Shame on every person who's turned their back on him. He's been a marked man for months. Shame not just for those in the crowd and at home who turned their back on him, but shame for every person in the locker room who's made it their mission to stop him from successfully. Who made it their mission to stop him successfully from cashing in his Money in the Bank contract." He said, Seth Rollins said he's always had a plan B. He said this plan B was top secret. He told 2 people in the entire world. First, his beautiful wife, and second was his oracle, Paul Heyman. He says, together, they achieve what they set out to achieve. They have absolute power. Seth Rollins then holds up the title. There's no one who can stop them. This is the past, the present, and the future. This is the way forward. This is the vision. So finally, we got the vision. That's their name. Okay, that's fine. LA Knight comes out. He gets a really good reaction. So he does his usual, let me talk to you shtick. He blasts Seth Rollins for faking the knee injury. He does give Rollins props for finishing the match and everything else. But he still wanted to kick his ass. He said he took some time off, and he wanted to tune in to SummerSlam. LA Knight said he had to come to Brooklyn because he wants to put Rollins in the dirt. And LA Knight still wants to hurt him. He said he'll be the one to dethrone Seth Rollins and take the World Heavyweight Championship off of him. So Seth Rollins declined LA Knight's offer. He says no. Then Adam Pearce shows up, and then he makes the match official and everything else. So who cares? This was a little bit too long for me. This lasted about close to 20 minutes. This could have been shorter. This should have been about maybe a 5-minute promo from Paul and maybe like a 2-minute promo from Seth. LA Knight should have had a shorter promo as well, but it is what it is. I really don't give a shit about this. And I'm a fan of LA Knight, but, LA Knight's not going to win, obviously, so why would he? So it is what it is. This was an okay way to start the show off, but this could have been shorter. Definitely could have been shorter. Moving on. So we go backstage. So Dom, he's with the Judgment Day. So Dom then sees the LWO. He asked what they're doing in his hallway. So then Dragon Lee, he challenges Dominic Mysterio to a match, which was great. So Dom accepts. So AJ Styles shows up. He gets a really good reaction. He says he's not going to slap Dom around yet. What Mysterio did last night was clever, but he's still coming after the Intercontinental Championship. As long as Dom has it, AJ Styles is coming after him. There are only so many tricks he can have. Time's running out. Dom says, yeah, that's because time's running out because you're getting old, which is kind of funny. So I do like that. I mean, AJ Styles is what, 40, about mid-40s, about between 45 and 47. That's not old. So, there's that. Okay, so that's fine. Pretty cool stuff there. First match of the night, a rematch. Sheamus versus Rusev. It was basically, what was this, a no contest? Yeah, it was a double count out. Who cares? This is a waste of time. They continue to brawl and stuff afterwards and everything else. So whatever. I don't give a shit about this. It seems like what they're doing with Rusev and Sheamus is that they're going to probably continue to do the best of 7 series that Triple H did for Andrade and Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown last year. That's probably what they'll end up doing, which sucks. I hate that. I wish that Triple H had some better plans for Rusev, and if he didn't have any plans right this moment, he could have put him in NXT for a good 6 months to a year, and then bring him back up to the main roster when he really needed him. So that's what I would have done if I was, Triple H, but it is what it is. Moving on. So the New Day, they're backstage. They're still mourning. Grayson Waller, he's still with them. He says that that's what family does. Kofi says they're still in mourning. Xavier Woods says that they look like perfect chocolate decadence, which is funny. But they can't get themselves in the right state of mind. So, Penta is backstage with Adam Pearce. So, Grayson Waller makes fun of Penta for a brief moment. And then Adam Pearce sets up a match between Penta and Grayson Waller. So, that's fine there, I guess. Moving on, this leads us into Grayson Waller versus Penta. Penta defeats Grayson Waller. He wins via the Mexican Destroyer for the 1-2-3. Match was okay. I didn't even watch it, so it is what it is. And then post-match, Kofi Kingston gets in the face of Penta, and, they continue to fight there. They brawl. Penta takes out the New Day with a somersault senton. So, whatever. I mean, that's fine there. Moving on from this leads us into Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So, there's that. They don't really say much of anything. They put each other over, basically. So a small "you deserve it" chant breaks out a little bit. Flair says that it's nice to feel. I mean, it does feel nice to do something as we instead of me. So then she says, "Don't put a label on it." Alexa asks what she's gonna say. Bliss says she was going to say the F word, referring to friend. Charlotte says that Alexa Bliss has a pain in her A word. Yes, that's what she literally said. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So Charlotte says My bad. Bliss says that Charlotte Flair is stuck with her. They can go over their career achievements. So the Judgment Day, they show up. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, they show up. They poke fun at Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, saying that they want their tag titles back and no one likes them and all this nonsense. Then this leads us into a rematch from SummerSlam. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, they defeat Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Who gives a shit about this? I really don't. Moving right along, this leads us into the Kabuki Warriors. They're backstage. So Io's talking to them. So I guess it seems like they want to reform Damage Control, I guess. But Io turned the offer down, which was kind of smart. Rhea walks up. She gets a really good reaction. So Asuka then tells Io Sky to talk to her quote-unquote friend. Rhea said she heard that Io asked for a women's world title match. Io Sky says she didn't get pinned at SummerSlam. Rhea says she respects Io Sky as a former champion, so she needs to beat Naomi. Nothing would make Rhea happy than to beat her for the title. Sky says that Rhea is never going to beat her. And then Io Sky walks off and then Rhea smirks. Okay, this is fine, I guess, but why? I'm guessing they're going to do this match at some point. Don't know when. Maybe a couple weeks before Clash in Paris. Don't really know. But interesting stuff there. Could it be maybe the Kabuki Warriors turn heel and maybe they cost Io? I don't know. Interesting stuff, though. So, there is that. This leads us into Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. They're just both bickering back and forth. Lyra says she wants nothing to do with Becky. With Bayley, and she wants to get out of this Bayley vortex, which was great. She said neither of them is a champion. They're screwed up for each other, so they need to stay away from each other, which I agree with 10,000%. Good stuff. And then we got a promotional video package for AAA, Triple Mania, which is great. So that'll be next weekend. So good stuff there. Cool. This leads us into Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio. And Dominic Mysterio wins with the help of not one, not two, but three El Grande Americanos. They all show up. Two of the other guys are short, so that means it's Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. And the tall one is Ludwig Kaiser. So this is interesting. This could lead to a Euro faction, which should be interesting. I think this is great. Kaiser being the guy of his own faction is great. Kaiser kicks ass. Kaiser kicks major fucking ass. I've liked Kaiser for a while. He's much better than Gunther. He's way better than Giovanni Vinci as well, when Giovanni Vinci was still with WWE at the time. So I do like this. I'm interested in seeing where this goes. And who knows? Maybe they could add another guy there. Maybe they could add Ilya Dragunov. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. So good stuff there. Post-match, AJ Styles came down to make the save. So they're still, doing AJ and Dom. We should probably get the rematch at Clash in Paris. We should get probably at least a good 7 matches on the card, hopefully. And not the typical 5 or 6 bullshit matches that we usually get. Moving on. This leads us into Jackie Redmond. She had a backstage interview with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn says it's not about proving people wrong. People would have liked to have seen him use the pipe pause, but he chose not to. It would have felt good to use that pipe, but it's not who he is. It's about who he wants to be. Sami Zayn wants to be world champion, and he'll do it. But he wants to do it the right way. Karrion Kross is now in his rearview mirror. Then all of a sudden, there's a brawl that breaks out again between Sheamus and Rusev, and Sami Zayn gets in the mix. And then next week, it's going to be Sami Zayn versus Rusev. I don't give a shit about this at all. I don't. I do like what they're doing with Sami Zayn. Clearly, they're going to build him up to be the one who dethrones Seth Rollins at probably next year's Mania. Obviously, he's going to win the Royal Rumble because it's going to be in his second home away from home, Saudi Arabia. So, of course, he's going to win that one. So, interesting stuff there. Karrion Kross, to me, it seems like he's done. This is still early August. If he's not, I'll give him 4 weeks. If he's not there next week or in the next 2 weeks, in my opinion, he didn't re-sign, which sucks. But I don't know. We have to wait and see. So there's that. Moving on. Let's lead this into Becky Lynch. She comes out and she says that it's over between her and Lyra. She said that she's the gatekeeper of opportunities, and she's going to hold the title for a long time. She said it's time to open up the floor to new competitors. And the competitors need to understand that they're stepping into the ring with the greatest female wrestler of all time. So Nikki Bella shows up, and she gets a pretty okay reaction. She puts over Becky Lynch. She said Becky's always been the scared little girl when she first came into the business. Becky Lynch was supposed to raise a generation, but instead she's handcuffed them. So, Nikki says that this is the best division has ever been. Why did Becky come back? She could have stayed away. Was it really... Was Becky Lynch really that jealous, or was Hollywood not what she thought it would be? So that got a pretty good reaction from the crowd. So Becky puts over, how Happy Gilmore's doing, Happy Gilmore 2's doing. She says that she knows that Nikki was on set, but she got her role cut. And then she says that her reach extends far beyond the ropes. Becky Lynch was the one that got Nikki Bella cut. Nikki said she's sick of this. Becky Lynch is a liar, just like her husband. The difference is they all bought Seth Rollins' lies, but no one buys Becky Lynch's BS. And then Becky's the same insecure little girl who came into this division. So, then Becky tells her not to talk about her husband, her hot husband. They're the greatest wrestling couple of all time. At one point, that would have been Nikki, and then Becky stops, and then she says, "Oh, you can't see him anymore." So that got a really good reaction from the crowd. That popped me a little bit. That was hilarious. So they continue to jaw jack and forth. To jaw jack and forth, back and forth, and then out of nowhere, Nikki then challenges Becky to a match. Becky's like, nope. And then she attacks Nikki. So she does the lame-ass headbutt that they all do now, which is stupid. Moving on. So, this was fun. That was funny, though. Pretty funny stuff there. So, Naomi's backstage with Byron Saxton. She puts over, that she's still champion. She warned everyone not to be shocked when she leaves SummerSlam with her title. She said she's going to defend her title next week against Io Sky on Raw. So Stephanie Vaquer walks up, gets a really good reaction. She said regardless of whether it's her or, Naomi or Io Sky, the title will belong to her at Clash in Paris. Naomi says it'll be her at Clash in Paris. She'll take Vaquer's horns and shove them so far up her behind that she'll walk with a limp. And then she cackles. Okay, that's fine. Then Gunther is out indefinitely for whatever reason. So apparently Gunther broke his nose and he's going to be out for, a undisclosed length of time, which is weird as shit to me. But it is what it is. I guess because Triple H doesn't know what to do with Gunther. I guess he's going to give Gunther some time off, so that's fine there. So cool stuff there. Then this leads us into a backstage segment involving Becky Lynch and Natalya. So Natalya has some words for Becky, because she's upset with what she did to to Nikki. And then Natalya challenges her to a match next week. Becky Lynch agrees, but it's going to be against Maxine Dupree. So that's fine there. Main event of the evening, Seth Rollins versus LA Knight for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is a no contest. CM Punk shows up, gets involved. And him and LA Knight, they get into it for a brief moment. Then a massive brawl ensues. Braun, they attack both CM Punk and LA Knight. And then Roman Reigns shows up. He gets a massive reaction. He takes out the Vision for a brief moment, and then the Vision, they come back and they destroy Roman Reigns. They hit a spear on them, and then Bronson Reed does not one, not two, but three tsunami splashes, and that was it. So good stuff there. I do like this. This is okay. It seems like this is going to lead into a six-man tag, the Vision, Seth Rollins and Braun taking on LA Knight, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. So that should be interesting. But we don't know because Roman, it seems like they wrote Roman off for a little bit. We don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. We got some time, but Roman should be at Clash in Paris. Like, that's going to be a pretty solid international show. And most international shows for WWE are usually pretty decent. So Roman will probably do this show, and then we probably won't see Roman until maybe Survivor Series, because he is going to be filming for the Mortal Kombat movie. So, there's that. But Raw was okay. The main event was all right. What happened post-match was really good. I did enjoy that. The opening segment was was okay, but it was boring, a little bit too long for my liking. And everything else on the show was, lackluster and boring. But, hey, it is what it is. Triple H does not know how to book these shows, so whatever. I'm interested in seeing how the Ludwig Kaiser faction, how that goes. Even though I'm not a fan of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates, but maybe some of Ludwig Kaiser's charisma can rub off on the two of them. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But what did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.